It's like a young. I think they call it like young readers, but not. I think there's also actual children's pictures. But this is like I think a Harry Potter one.
Literally every sentence with dialogue ends in said. Like
Yeah,
it's not very. It's very basic language for kids.
yeah,
He said.
totally.
She
Yeah,
said. They said.
yeah. So I mean, like I'm gonna get through it in like 3 sittings. And I wanted to start with the children's one, so that I could work up from there. Make sure the adult books
Yeah.
aren't too much for
I
me.
gotta, it's like the Souls games. You probably start with one of the easier ones before you just throw yourself into the
No,
arcade.
right into Sekiro.
You gotta
It's the only one I've beat.
you gotta make sure you remember work up through your grade 6 reading level and then grade 9, and we'll do adjectives and adverbs and pronouns and things.
I took another swing at Demon Souls, and I went into I think I was on 1-3, and I went in there, took some damage at some point, went to heal, realized I did not have any healing items at last time I quit, and then was like, well, let's see if we can just one-shot this one. And when I died, I was like, I think I'm done.
1-3 being Tower Knight. Hi, welcome to the Talking Reckless Video Game Podcast. By the way, my name is Matt Eads, joined by Brandon Lynch, Kyle B. Too Sweet on the camera. We're talking. Well, I mean, we were talking young adult literature. I have a thought about how I would maybe like to reread Animorphs at some point in my life. We'll get back to that. But Animorphs is fucked. Sidebar: Animorphs is like. Do you remember some of the war crimes and like they don't just kill kids, they do way worse things to children in those books.
Maybe the reason that Animorphs never really stuck in pop culture was the fact that you went from being too young to understand how fucked it was to immediately understanding how fucked it was and being like, these books are also bad.
The world is fucked. I mean, they're bad because they're written for young kids. You have to read them today.
Right, but the content matter is not. So
no, the content matter is capital F fucked.
It's almost like there's like a prime of like 3 days of your life where you're like, I understand this content matter, and I'm also young enough to not know how bad the writing is. And if you don't read all of Animorphs in those 3 days, then you flip to the other side.
Yeah, man, that is like the most true thing I think I've
That's
ever
what
heard
happened
in
to
my life.
me for sure. I missed out on Animorphs, and by the time I was like, "Oh, Animorphs," no,
I was
never read
great.
'em.
They even had like a buddy who was into it. We were reading. They were like coming out as we were. That series was ending as we were in like grade 3 or 4 or something. Like perfect age for it. We were like. We were like theorizing, and like we each had a scrapbook. We were writing down what we thought was going to happen, and
I just remember the covers.
Yeah, there was like some
Cool covers.
some like grand conflict that eventually gets revealed where it turns out it's like 2 gods. It's like a Star Trek like Q playing with the fate of humanity. It's 2 gods playing with the fates of. It's like a game is what I think I remember. It's like literally a computer game where. What are the slugs called? The Yerks, I think, maybe? The brain-controlling slugs might be the Yerks.
Yeah, it's the Yerks.
It's all coming back. Where one team basically chose the Yerks, and the other team chose the Animorphs.
The Andalites.
The Andalites were the alien race that they don't have mouths. They eat through their hooves. Because I remember that young one that gets trapped on Earth tries sugar for the first time, and that like freaks him out. He's got a thing with food. Ask me anything. They have blades on their tails. Hork-Bajir, I believe, are what the big like dinosaur motherfuckers with blades all over them are called.
Somewhere, hopefully, there's one person listening to this being like, "Guy's fucking nailing it."
AMA,
and the rest of us are just
Animorphs.
like, "What?"
El Fangor posed as a human named Alan Fangor, who invented Windows computers. That is all true. That is all real life from Animorphs. There was like lava creatures too. That was when it got real. There was like weird space lava monsters.
Oh, that was it, eh?
Yeah.
That was when you're like, "Oh, this is for grown-ups."
Yeah, you couldn't touch them. I remember they were like humanoid, but you couldn't touch them or get
No,
near
they're made
them
out
or
of
something.
lava.
Like, this is fucked. They were made of lava.
These are children's books. This is like the metaphor of like, don't touch the hot stove.
Yeah.
They're trying to teach
That's right. Yeah.
That's right. And then there's that one like shitty Animorph. That one they recruit.
The rat?
Yeah, they trap him in a rat forever. Forever. Yo,
I know a little bit.
He is a human. Oh right, they trap him as a rat, and then the evil god unrats him for a while so he can fuck with the Animorphs, and then he he either dies or gets they do something real fucked up to that kid. I can't remember what his name is, Bill or something, but the rat. You're right. He's fucked up. He's the one they brought on after. Because they have
Bill
the cube. It's the Tesseract. They have a blue cube, and they all have to put their hand on a different face of the cube, and that's what gives them their fucking
this is
Animorph
just another
powers.
part of the multiverse.
Yeah, no, this is... They straight up, like Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver were made from the Mind Stone. The Animorphs were made from... What's the Tesseract? The Space Stone?
Space, yeah.
Yeah, because it portals. Yeah. AMA Animorphs.
That's wild.
I'm going to tell you right now, Eads, you've said AMA Animorphs 3 times. We have not asked you a single question.
To the audience, anyone. There was a kid named Tobias who was trapped in a hawk. Yeah, that happens real early. He gets trapped in the hawk, and you think he's stuck as the hawk for a while, but then he... I don't remember how he gets... He gets the ability to morph.
City. You're going to have to tag this.
From a hawk. He stays a hawk, but has the morphing ability. I don't remember how that happens.
So he can like be half hawk, but running on the ground with regular feet?
Well, they can all kind of stop half morph. No, he like you can only say 2 hours. If you stay longer than 2 hours in a form, you get trapped, but his permanent form is a hawk. He was a human who turned into a hawk and stayed too long and got stuck and then somehow got the ability to morph again. So he could be a person for 2 hours at a time or whatever. Which raises the question, why didn't he just change back into a person and get stuck as a person, and then hopefully you get the power to change again, or maybe you're just a person and that's fine.
I don't know. Being a hawk could be okay. Maybe you'd rather be a hawk than a person.
Maybe he can see better.
I think that was kind of the case. Vision as I think that he was like, he was a loner who had no family or whatever. I don't really remember.
It was a meta commentary on the flaws of humanity.
Yeah, and then the hawk had a thing with one of the girls. They were like a couple, I think. I feel like
That's why they call him the hawk.
Tobias and Rachel were... she turned into the bear. Marcus turned into the gorilla.
Both his parents died. He lives with his aunt and uncle.
Yeah, I think they were no good.
Who's the leader?
Jake. He's a tiger. I mean, they all had they could all turn into anything, but they all had their mains, if you will.
Hmm.
Was that all of them? Yeah, Cassie. Cassie was the black girl. I think she was a snake, maybe a cobra or something was her go-to. She's the one I don't remember what her thing was. Hi, welcome to Talking Breakfast, the video game podcast. Also Animorphs.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah. Did they ever make any Animorph games? We were playing something recently. Something came out in the last... Maybe it's like Life is Strange. Something came out where the characters are talking about Animorphs. Not Life is Strange. The one where... with the trans main character...
Oh, yeah. Tell Me Why.
Tell Me Why, yeah. Those kids were into Animorphs when they were kids.
Mm-hmm.
Love them. Got me into
I remember I could fucking draw you a picture of the book rack at our elementary school where all the Animorphs books were. It's right across the aisle from the computers.
Yeah, I looked at that same school, so same book rack.
Yeah.
To the moon, a lot of Animorphs talk. Someone in Alex in chat says that's right.
I always think about Altered Beast when Animorphs gets thrown around.
There was a trivia question in To the Moon, wasn't there? One of the questions you had to answer was, in Animorphs, blank happened or didn't happen, I think. Wild Altered Beast. That's a bad video game. He's throwing his hands up. Kyle's throwing his hands up like he doesn't believe it.
Me?
Like he doesn't believe that Altered Beast is a bad game. It's a bad... Am I crazy?
It was top 3 games for the Sega. For sure. For sure.
Oh, sorry. I'm totally thinking of a different game. This is side-scroller beat 'em up. Sorry? Turn into different animals, have different powers.
Yeah.
Yeah. What am I? I'm thinking of the fighting game where you turned into animals. Not brute force. Oh, that's a good. That's a good sound on that pour.
Oh, jeez. I'm fucking far away too. I'm at an arm's reach here.
Yeah, I can. It's perfect Foley. Fighting game where you turn into animals.
Bloody Roar. That's what Grab Varg says in chat there.
That might have been it. I've played a lot of video games in my life.
Mm-hmm. A lot of those old ones you play for a half hour and then just never play again.
If you were an Animorph, what animal would you turn into?
What would be my main?
Yeah.
I feel like house cat would probably be pretty. I feel like house cats are kind of amazing, but don't get a lot of cred. They can jump like 20 times their fucking height. They don't have a terminal velocity. They can fall from an infinite height and survive. Like cats.
I'm not saying you're
cool.
wrong. Those are all valid things. I'd want something that, like, in my day-to-day life wasn't almost exactly like me already.
But think of how useful it would be. Like, you can't, if you're going to turn into like a flamingo, you can't just bust out a flamingo in the middle of I can be a house cat anywhere in the city.
Well, no, but wouldn't you want, like, I would want to be like a something fast, like a
house cat.
cheetah.
A really big house. But like, again, what do you, it's situational, right?
I can be a human downtown. I got downtown covered.
But I'm thinking, like, I don't want people
I probably
to
want
know
to be
me.
something that flies, actually.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's the obvious answer is something that flies. A bat.
I'd want to be a gorilla. Fucking just.
No, Marcus already was the gorilla. You can't choose one of the main animorphs. That's like saying,
I've never read
I'm
Animorphs.
Ryu.
How my knowledge of Animorphs
Everyone
is
in
none.
my age group, which you are, should just have this knowledge inherently in them.
Yeah, your school system failed you.
I was going to one of those Catholic schools.
I told you I went to school in Sturgeon Composite, sir.
Gross. I'm sorry to
It
hear
is
that. They
gross.
couldn't afford books. Oh man, have they ever made any Animorphs video games?
Did we go over this already?
I think we have. As soon as I asked that question, actually,
Yeah.
and I'm almost certain they have. Yeah, for the video game color. Wow. Sorry, the Game Boy Color. The art for the Game Boy Color game is very good.
Top notch.
It's like way better than the art they had on the books. You remember how shitty the art on the books was?
Oh, there's one for PlayStation as well.
There's multiples. Shattered Reality. Know the Secret.
Someone must have liked
the
these
Animorphs
books.
games. I assume they're
That
like movie
person
games.
failed.
In that, wow, it is a Pokemon game. Like, this is blowing my mind, man. It is
they
straight
catch
up
'em all?
Pokemon interface with 4 attacks, health bar, XP bar, except instead of a Pokemon, you seem to have an animal form. Coyotes can use growl, bite, scratch, or burrow. Fight, run, item. Fighting a
The
Hork-Bajir.
exact same commands.
Yeah, it is literally, those are all Pokemon attacks. Oh, man. Crazy. Nostalgia. What a drug.
Amen.
Let's talk about some more recent video games, gentlemen. Like 2012's Rocksmith. Let me tell you about
All
a
right.
fine Ubisoft product. I got my Rocksmith guitar working. So I bought
Really?
Rocksmith for the Xbox 360
Back in the day.
back in the day, yeah. And it comes with a real guitar, which actually I have here. If you're watching the video, it comes with I think this is an Epiphone electric guitar. It says somewhere on it. Yeah, Epiphone.
Bad boy. Spent a lot of
Epiphone.
time in our apartment.
Electric guitar here, which is just it's fairly cheap, but it's a totally serviceable little electric guitar. And Rocksmith is the game that like tries to teach you to play the guitar. It's basically Guitar Hero, but instead of the buttons, it uses the fretboard and strings. It is super fun. Because no matter, like, it starts you pretty easy where, like, you're just playing 1 or 2 notes. You're just like, bong, bong. Like, you're just hitting the bass line or whatever. But even those 1 or 2 notes, like, it's still the full song. It always feels like you're playing dope-ass music, which is super fun. And I don't know how good of a tool it is for really learning guitar, but I've been kind of hitting it here and there almost every day. It's fun. It's super fun.
I'd imagine it's just like guitar tabs. It's
totally.
how I learned to play
Except
guitar.
they scroll at you. There's like mini games
Exactly.
too, where it's like do the fretboard mini game is like to work on your picking. You like shoot ducks on different frets and things, and
For sure.
it's
I'd imagine they have scales and all that sort of stuff in there too. Yeah.
and it does a really good job of like scaling up with you and kind of recommending like it's time to maybe think about learning bar chords. Go try the bar chord workshop or whatever.
Oh yeah.
It's really cool. It's really cool, and I got the custom DLC working, which is dope. It's a kind of a fuck around. You have to like buy the one of the Smashing Pumpkins ones. It's a real kind of process to get working, but now that it is working, it's dope. And if you at home have one of these guitars with the real tone cable, is the cable it's shipped with. I guess you can just replace it with a standard 1/4-inch cable and it's no problem. But if you have the real tone cable on Windows 10, the fix to get it working is plug it in and unplug it really fast until it starts working. It seems like fucking bullshit, but totally works. Plug, unplug, plug, unplug, plug, unplug, plug,
like
unplug, plug, unplug, plug, unplug, plug, unplug, and eventually it will detect it as it's just like Rocksmith USB guitar or whatever, and it'll work. And once it works, it's good. I haven't had to do that again, so it's weird. It's a weird workaround, and it's weird that it even works. But the real tone cable hasn't worked with PC in like 5 years, so.
Was that did you just figure that out, or was that is that proven amongst many cases, or did you just do that and found it worked?
I found a video on YouTube of someone doing the same thing and being like, I know it sounds like bullshit, but hear me out here. And there was a bunch of comments being like, yep, that totally did it.
That's funny.
So yeah, it seems like nonsense, but it totally works.
Weird.
Yeah, it's fun. It's really fun. I'm gonna maybe stream some of it one day. Like I say, I'm not great at guitar by any means, but it does a good job of it always sounds good. That said, you can totally hear, because you are playing, you can totally hear when you fuck up. It's like crank, just this discordant. It's like really jarring in a way. It's hard to not stumble after one really like discordant note. But it's dope. Come check that out on the stream sometime here.
Hell yeah.
And I've been into the Yuffie DLC. I've been into that Yuffie. You know what I'm saying?
Yuffie and Ifie both.
Hoofy?
She's a shinobi, right?
She's a ninja.
Ninja? Okay,
Thank you.
Sorry.
She wears a Kupo poncho, which I hated initially. It did the thing. Final Fantasy did the thing where I'm like, this is not self-aware. What are you doing, Final Fantasy? And then they look at the camera and go, we're self-aware. I'm like, okay, you got me. They basically they hit the sword on the door, but with Yuffie in a way that I'm like, all right, yeah, I guess Yuffie's okay.
She's a strong character in the original game.
Yeah, she's a strong character in this game.
Yeah, she's certainly more entertaining than Cloud as a playable character.
Yes. I haven't finished it. I'm actually pretty early still. I've been playing a lot of Fort Condor, which is the new kind of like mini game, the triple triad.
That was where you and I walked to the branch in the roads together and tipped our caps and both went opposite ways.
It's an auto battler. The game this time is an auto battler. It's Clash of Clans. It is literally Clash of Clans. There are 3 towers on each side, and you have a point meter that ticks up, which you use to summon units that march down the lanes, and you need to destroy your opponent's towers before they destroy yours. And there's kind of a rock, paper, scissors aspect to it. But it's I don't know. It's good. I like it.
Not since Gwent.
Has
it been something that they spent so much time on that I gave such a little shit about.
Have you spent more time playing this than the actual DLC?
Yeah, I have so far. Yeah, big time. But I'm still in the opening area, and they give you a lot of games, a lot of Fort Condor games out of the gate. So I'm still kind of.
And I don't think there's much more after that. So
that's a big spot in the original game.
I will say, without spoiling it, the environment of just being able to run around, the environment that I would expect them to put most of those challengers in, there's no environment like that after the environment you start in.
I'm not sure. Like you start in Sector
in
7 or whatever.
Yep. Yeah, and you never
the same town that you were in the main game.
Right, but once you leave that town,
there
are no open hub areas like that again.
Oh, okay. So it's just kind of.
So I think what you're doing.
Short, then. I must almost be finished the DLC.
It's only 2 chapters. It's kind of that hub world that you're in, and then kind of a straight shot to the end of chapter 1.
Yeah.
And then chapter 2 is mostly straight shot stuff.
I think I'm right on the cusp of chapter 2.
Yeah.
That. How much was it? Was it $10?
No, it was expensive. It was like.
No.
25.
Oh, you're right. It was like $26.99 or something.
Yeah.
For this DLC.
That does feel expensive because I've only put maybe 3 or 4 hours in, and almost all of it has been Fort Condor.
I finished at 6 hours and did not play much Fort Condor.
Did you do any of the the Chadley VR battles?
I did a little. I think I only did one Chadley VR battle, and I did every other side thing you could do other than those.
Yeah, shit.
But I'm telling you,
That's
I wouldn't say chapter 2. Chapter 2 will be shorter for you because you're playing so much Fort Condor.
Yeah.
But for me, who did not, it felt like chapter 2 and chapter 1 were similar in length, but chapter 2 was much more keep moving, keep fighting.
Yeah, we haven't done shit yet. It's just been like,
Right.
Yuffie shows up to the city and is like, wow, we got to find these turtle records, which the Happy Turtle has, like, I think there are 8 jingles or whatever, and they're all like, one of them is like a bluegrass, like, I want to the Happy Turtle. One of them is like, Happy Turtle, like just death metal.
It's all so good.
It is the funniest shit. It is way, like, they did some funny
like
stuff.
There's a really good J-pop version too that I was just like, I might boot this up on Spotify after.
Perfect.
There's like a smoky jazz one that I unironically think is really dope. It's very funny. But the
Yuffie
like
will
death
like
metal
sing.
one,
Yuffie will like sing them when she's looking.
Getting loaded at the and all the words are party, 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 party. I think it's either getting loaded or hammered. It's some word for drunk. Getting drunk at the Happy Turtle. Party, 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 party. Getting drunk at the Happy Turtle. Like it's tremendous.
Did you do the little dog mini game to get one of the Happy Turtle posters?
Not yet. I'm still
okay.
There was one where it's like on a balloon and you got to go behind and you pop the balloon and it knocks the poster out. I couldn't find that poster after it was knocked to the ground.
After it fell?
Yeah.
That's unfortunate.
I couldn't find it. The whole
They're
area.
small. They're really small. Just, they're like little blue, like
yeah,
tags.
I found like 3 or 4 of them. Like they're posters usually. She like rips them off the wall.
But they're on posters. Like there's like the big
Oh.
turtle looking poster, and then there's like a blue sticker thing she rips down.
Oh, yeah. I probably just looked right past it then because
Yeah,
I was
it looks
looking
like
for
a big piece
the
of
big
confetti.
red poster. That
Right.
makes sense. But it is, I don't know, it is more Final Fantasy. Do you ever get 3 party members in this one, or is it only 2?
No.
Okay.
It's you and the same one the whole way.
I was waiting for 3 to try to do some of those VR things because I went in there solo as Yuffie and was like, this is fucking impossible.
Yeah, when I went, as soon as you get access to Chadley, I went, and once you leave town, I don't think you can go back. So
Really?
like, you can leave town and go to like.
Do they give you like a
attached
warning?
and not
Is there
loading
like a
branches?
like a whoa, you can't go back, so do all the stuff you want to
Yeah.
do. Okay.
Yeah,
I have
I think
not
you're-
hit
you're-
that point yet.
Your partner's gonna say, I think it's when you get on the train. Maybe your partner's gonna say something like, "Hey, we might not be coming back here for a while," and what he really means is like,
Do your
"We're never
side quests.
coming back here."
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's I don't know. It's a little like it feels a little fan servicey where you just run into every character from the main game and like they're off doing weird side stuff.
Yeah, because
Okay.
it takes place between and slight Final Fantasy VII remake spoilers, I guess.
I think this is
it seems
named 7-2. I don't think this is just a remake event that you're about to discuss.
No, yeah, I'm specifically talking about the remake. Is it and maybe the original? It takes place after Cloud gets separated from the group, where he ends up with Aerith or
Yeah.
Eris.
He falls
Whichever
through the roof of the
Yeah.
church.
Yeah, and then it kind of goes up to. Well, I won't say that just because it goes up to a significant event in the game that maybe I'll leave that for you to discover. But a point in the main game where you're like, oh, I know exactly when this is happening.
Yeah. Oh yeah. There are yes. They are like they beat you over the head with like, hey, we're the main story and we're doing this and like
Yeah.
we're gonna
You'll, like,
say
run into
these
them and-
keywords a bunch so you remember what we're talking about.
They'll be like, I wonder if Cloud's okay. Where's Cloud? I can't find Cloud.
Of course.
Fucking- I was a little rattled when the first person you meet is Barrett. Fucking Barrett. He's so extra. I haven't missed him at all. Fucking guy.
I've
just
never met a
screaming,
person with a gun for a hand I
"Avalanche,
didn't
we're
like."
This guy's always at a 10. We need you at about a 3, Barrett. I like your gun hand, but you can't.
I actually
hug
got
your
really
dog with a
hung
gun
up.
hand.
I got really hung up on the final boss
Of this?
of this.
Yeah.
And in a way that made me think, I can't remember. Did I play all the original game on easy? Maybe.
I turned it to
and-
easy halfway through. I was like,
Yeah,
"Fuck
because
this."
I played all this on normal, and I'm like, this is either an insane difficulty spike, or the more I think about it, maybe I was on easy the whole time in the original, and now I'm playing this on normal.
First game had those spikes too, where I like played it all the way on normal, all the way past Hell House, all that stuff. It was like 3/4 of the way through the game. There's a I don't remember what it is, some kind of a water boss or a boss that shoots water or something in the sewers. And
Oh, yeah.
it was like, this is fucking impossible. Apparently there's like a mechanic that you have to do that you're supposed to knock him off a wall while he's charging or some shit. But Even as someone who plays Dark Souls, that game is opaque and just has like some hidden shit that if you know, and if you don't, you think the combat sucks.
You have to assess literally everything you fight the first time.
And you have to read it. You have to read the fucking text, which says like, well, when this flange raises, you can attack to slow down the charge rate of this attack, which will...
Right. If you use assess, it usually tells you like specifically like this is how you run up the stun meter. Like it seemed like that was there every time. And then like sometimes I would literally be fighting and being like, it's too hard to do this thing you're asking me to do. I'm just going to not stun him and try and win this thing out.
Yeah, I still don't love the combat. It's... the dodge doesn't feel responsive enough. Like, it just feels... It's the weird... They're trying to do the, like, turn-based, you know, you're giving commands, but at the same time, it's a free-moving action game. Gang, where... did you guys hear Warren's thing? That's why I said ding. The dodge sucks. The dodge fucking sucks. And like you can get hit out of all your spell animations, and they're all so long. Like that combat is the antithesis of Dark Souls combat. It is hard and like technical, but not in the ways I want. It's technical in the way like I need to dodge 20 minutes early so that hopefully I'm standing by the time this fucking attack ends.
Right. It's like the part of the animation that the enemy like. In Dark Souls, it feels like the animation starts and then you zero in on what the window is to dodge.
Yeah.
Whereas this, it's like there's a moment in... I mean, I guess it's the same thing as Dark Souls, but it's like there's a point in this animation when I have to dodge. It's just way fucking earlier in Final Fantasy. It's like when the sword goes back, not when the sword comes forward.
But in Dark Souls, it feels like the game was made with those motions and those animations and those movements in mind. In Final Fantasy, like it just feels like an afterthought. Where like why does Fyra take twice as long to cast as Blizzara? Like it's way riskier casting it because if you get hit, you're gonna get knocked out. Like it's just weird idiosyncrasies that none of which feel intentional, but feels like they are kind of inoffensive enough. They're like, well, it's fucking fine. It's Final Fantasy. You're going to have 12,000 high potions anyways that you're just going to chug. Yeah. Like, I don't know. I really don't love the combat. And I even came to it with a fresh lens because a lot of people were like, no, it's this technical like puzzle kind of thing. It's very akin to a Dark Souls, but has its own sort of flavor it's doing. And I don't get it.
I think there is don't get me wrong. I don't really like the combat either. But I think it is so much less of a react. Like there's so much less of a play the game better to win this and more of a kind of stay away, do the thing you're supposed to do to beat this boss, and then you should be fine. Even if you take some hits, you're going to kill him way faster than he kills you.
You're simultaneously trying to like control 3 characters while you're doing that though, and they all cast different spells. It's just none of
that
it
stuff
ever,
didn't bother me as much, but I hate the responsiveness.
I just stopped changing eventually. I was like, I'm just going to play Cloud because fuck all of this.
You can like control their attacks without controlling them.
Yeah, you can slow down,
which is kind of how
you do it in this. You don't even get the option to control your buddy and integrate. You just give commands, which is I think it's way better. It's so much more manageable, and it makes it feel like I have a little bit of a handle on the combat. One character I can probably dodge, and you remember there's a parry system in that game. It's not good, but there's a parry.
Yeah, I don't parry very often.
And like an active dodge where if you nail it, you go into slow-mo, and like there's all these weird systems that again don't really come into play because who the fuck ever hits the parry with these mushy controls? All that said, it's fun to be back in Final Fantasy. It's such a stupid world. It's such like, and they know where like that. Not Kupo. That's what they. What are they? Moogles? Moogles say Kupo.
Yeah, Moogles.
The Moogle poncho she has. I'm like, this is stupid. And then someone in the game is like, that Moogle poncho's fucking stupid. And she's like, no, it's not. It's cute. And like they argue. Like they know. They absolutely know.
They know.
Yeah.
I'm curious to know where they're going to take the story. It's
I think
it's interesting to see some of the characters that they've kept alive.
Man, the big question mark at the end of Final Fantasy VII Remake is like we were talking about Marvel stuff on Tron. It's like we're going into Final Fantasy what if.
Oh, for sure.
Like
absolutely.
What if all these weird things. I don't want to talk too much about it in Remake because it's dope, but like
we have a whole spoiler cast about it.
Yeah, you should go listen to that spoiler cast. Remake and 7 are actually very, very different. Remake is the sequel to 7, even though it's called Remake. Man, it's dope talking about all this stuff. God damn it. I want to know where it goes. I hope it doesn't end in Kingdom Hearts.
This is the exact same thing that I said, I think, when I was putting together my maybe never before revealed Game of the Year list from last year because we didn't have a show. But I had a moment where I was like, boy, I sure love talking about the possibilities in that world, but I do not think that game is one of the best games of the year.
Yeah, totally. One of those, like maybe Death Stranding, games we enjoy talking about more than playing. That said, Brando, you sent me a message this week, a plea for help.
Unprompted.
Yeah, which just said something to the effect of, I'm thinking of playing Death Stranding again. Please help.
Yeah.
It's a sickness or something.
It's a sickness, yeah.
Yeah,
and I want to wait, like, I'm like, how? I have to wait for the director's cut to come out. Because why am I ever, I'm not going to play through it 3 times. So I got to wait for that. But at the same time, the fact that I'm waiting for it
so
when I own a copy is making me want to play it more. It's like waiting for Christmas to come.
I'm
terrible,
right
terrible Christmas.
I am right there with you. It's disgusting. And to even like add a further wrinkle, it's half off on PC this week. So like, I could get the good looking version, but then I don't have the cargo catapults. And really, what am I doing?
Ramps and
like,
the cargo catapult.
Yeah, I'm not,
that's going to change the game entirely.
I do not just want to play Death Stranding again. Even though right now I think I do. It's it's a little like depression, right? You have to separate yourself from these thoughts. You're like, this isn't me. This is the sickness. I don't really want to play Death Stranding. Something is seriously wrong with me.
Like, I feel like there's so many more moments of rolling your eyes in that game than there is like positive moments. But at the same time, like, sometimes I just sit there and I think about like certain moments I had in Death Stranding, and I'm like, fuck, was that game rad?
Yeah.
And then you're like, and then the angel on your shoulder is like, that's not true. You're remembering the good stuff, not the bad stuff. I was like, oh, but the good stuff. What about remember the good stuff?
All those runs you made to the fucking Chiral beer farm or whatever to get the 5-star reps so you could get whatever the useless thing they gave you for 5 stars was.
I had a moment trying to get a delivery pizza across a massive river and waterfall that I will put up against any video game I've ever played in terms of like, this is it. This is video games.
That first pizza, if you never played Death Stranding, it's obviously a delivery game, and pizzas, you're doing a lot of like weight balancing and stuff, so you don't fall over and damage your packages or whatever. Pizzas you have to keep upright. You literally have to carry the pizza upright at all times. Mm-hmm. Which is an interesting challenge. And like in the very beginning, you don't have a lot of tools. So that first pizza that you have to keep upright is like you have like 2 ladders that you have to keep breaking down and taking with you and propping back up. And
there's a timer that exists on the pizza delivery.
Because it has to get there a lot.
Exist on a lot.
That's right. That game, man.
Holy.
That game. What a... just a conflict of emotions in myself. What a paradox.
It's like a siren song where like you can hear it, but you can't see it, and you just want to keep getting closer and closer. And then it turns out at the middle, the thing is just terrible, and you shouldn't have come. But when you can only hear it,
it's its own bootstrap paradox in a weird way. Because had I never played it to learn that I didn't like it, I would never have wanted to play it again. But here we are. Mm-hmm. There's a real car outside. I don't live near a highway. I don't live near a highway, so I don't know what the fuck is happening. But I guess the Hells Angels are driving into my apartment. Man.
Been there.
There's a fucking motorcycle rally or something going on outside. I don't remember what we're talking. Death Stranding. Yeah. It's its own... It is a space-time paradox. Kojima broke reality. Mm-hmm. He's
got his own multiverse he's working on.
I've never hated a game so much, and at the same time, just... I really need to get in there and play that thing again, probably from start to finish, and like read the emails this time, and really make sure I understand what it is I hate about this game. Look for that in September. Real talk. I will see who all is in for it. A Death Stranding spoiler cast, whether that is just me and my thoughts or some people and their thoughts. We'll put something together because.
I struggle to imagine you're getting anyone more than me.
Yeah, we got capital T. That'll be the return of Oliver. Can you imagine?
Oh,
I've played it, and I'm pleased to say I've connected all the Metal Gear dots.
That's right.
If anyone's gonna do it, wonder if that's why he moved out to the coast. He's like, I just need to get away from people, and I need to.
Did you hear Kevin say that? Like he he didn't move to the coast, apparently. We all thought Oliver was moving to the coast, and apparently that fell through, and he's living in a Walmart parking lot in their RV that they were going to move to the coast then, I guess.
Oh, I know a lot of those guys. That's usually where I eat my lunch.
Yeah, just the RV and the Walmart. Yeah, go hang out with them. But last I heard, Oliver and Amber are, which I cannot imagine Amber being okay with that at all, are apparently living out of an RV.
That actually only increases my theory that he just needed to push the civilization of the world aside so that he could really get to the bottom of the Kojima thing.
Yeah, I just need time away.
I picture like a deep undercover ops where only Eads was like, Oliver, we need you to get to the bottom of this. And then Eads is like, yeah, I don't know what's up with Oliver. He left and no one knows when he's coming back.
Yeah.
But Eads and Oliver know.
He's on the... Yeah, I can't admit that he's on the Death Stranding beat, but he may or may not be on the Death Stranding beat. It turns out this is actually how long it takes to play all of Death Stranding.
He's reading the emails.
Man, to like read them on the TV, you'd have to have one of those fucking like text magnifying glasses.
Oh,
like,
it was awful. Like I
hope they make it bigger in the director's cut.
I'd squint and read the first couple lines and decide if it interested me, and if it interested me, I'd like get up and put my nose to the TV.
Like 90% of they're written by quote real people, so they always have like emojis and shit in the subject line, and like yeah.
I have a no emoji policy.
Spam. Some of them were legit just spam emails, which is great. Tell me a little bit about Plaguetale, Brando.
I would love to. Plaguetale is a video game from last year.
It's from way earlier than last year. I'm going to say
is it? It came out on Xbox, I think, last year. But maybe existed on PC before then? Or maybe I'm crazy.
2019, so not that far off, actually.
Okay.
Yeah, 2019.
Yeah, time's been tricky lately.
Yeah, big time.
It came out on Xbox. I don't know if it was out on PlayStation, but it is out on PlayStation Plus now, so you can play it for free. Which is why I'm playing it. I did not give it
PS5.
PS5, yeah. I did not give it a sniff when it first came around.
Mm-hmm. It is on Game Pass also, or was. I don't know if it still is, but that's where I played it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Weird. That seems like where I would have played it, but was clearly playing something else.
Maybe only for PC. I played it on PC, so it might have only been a PC one, but I think it's on everything.
You might be right. I might have just not been paying attention to it.
It doesn't look to watch the trailer. It doesn't look like a game you maybe need to download from Game Pass.
Right.
It's a Focus Home published game. It's a Sobo studio, which again it's not a studio that you're like, damn, I recognize this name, a lot of high quality projects. It looks like the most generic ass third person B game you've ever seen. And yet
and then you play it.
Yeah, it's actually like way better than it has any right to be. It is pretty fucking good.
I think where I kind of came around on what it was reminding of and what it was doing well was it feels like Last of Us Light. Like it feels like it's this game, this kind of cross country, you and a companion game, meeting people along the way, and all of it is like there's two kinds of encounters in that game. At least I'm about halfway through. Two kinds of encounters. There's the real life humans that you're trying to stealth your way through, and then there's the big rat puzzles, which are like lighting torches and light sources to get from one side of a room to another.
Yeah, it's if you've ever seen The Mummy with Brendan Fraser, it's that style of like the scarabs.
Yeah.
It's the black swarm where if you go into them, you dissolve. They like eat you instantly.
Right, and your torch is going out, and they play with timing there, and you're trying to like throw fire bombs at torches to make a path. And
they fear the light.
They fear the light. And I was like, and even the performances are super high quality compared to what you would think from a game like that, and the music is very good compared to what you would think like a game like that. And I was like,
the music
this is like
incredible, man.
Very, very good.
Like,
and it's like
I use it in my D&D playlist. It's so good.
And I think the moment when I was like, oh, it's Last of Us. Last of Us is what I keep looking at. Like what it's pulling the same strings for me. Was literally an acoustic guitar chord, and it like I was like, oh, that's like Last of Us, and I was like, oh my god, it's all like Last of Us. But it's really doing it for me. Like it obviously does not have the budget the Last of Us did, and
same composer as Life is Strange.
Well, there you go.
Oliver Derivière, I believe. Derivière.
That game also had good music.
Vampire, which I did not care for.
There's a Plague Tale 2, right?
There is a sequel got announced. Greedfall they did the music for. Alone in the Dark, 2008's Alone in the Dark. No fucking way. We played that bad game on stream not all that long ago. That's crazy.
It seems like I don't want to say it seems very good because I don't want people to go in being like, oh, I'm going to go play this very good video game. Yeah. But it definitely was like, oh, this is way better than I thought it was going to be.
It's like a B++ game. You get it and you're like, this is a B game. And then it like usually you expect kind of bad animations, maybe it doesn't look so great. The voice acting is maybe not
glitchy,
tremendous, but it is like the production values across the board are just 10 out of 10. The performances are so fucking good. Like the music and the set dressing and the cutscenes they do, it's way better than it has any right to be.
And it seems really well paced. Like it's 17 chapters, and each ends in like a moment where you're like, oh shit. And the chapters are never like longer than 40 minutes at the most. So it feels like you're always like, oh, let's play a little bit more and see what that next big story beat is.
Yeah, I think it took me somewhere between like 8-9 hours. Not super long, but like not super short. And it's very pleasantly surprising. If you play a few minutes of it and you're like, oh, this is not for me, just give it a little bit more time to kind of work on you, and you might be very surprised, like I was.
Right. They dole out the puzzle types. Like I said, the encounters are basically just one of two encounters. You're dealing with the rats, you're dealing with the humans. But they deal out kind of the tools that you're going to get to use and the puzzles that are going to use those tools very slowly. Like I still got a resource wheel or a weapon wheel that is only about half full, and I'm almost halfway through the game. So like they're like, oh, now you can throw a thing that melts people's helmets to their face, so they have to take their helmet off, and then that opens up other options for headshots and stuff like that. So,
and then eventually you'll kind of get all the tools, and they'll be like, all right, goddamn motorcycles in like a Hitman-esque kind of way. Here are a bunch of different tools, and you can kind of solve these encounters, different ways, whether it be like I got to put this guy's torch out, or I got to get his helmet off and then lure him into this corner or whatever. It's a smart game. I'm just gonna shut this window real fast.
And they kind of like Last of Us. They divide those. Last of Us is very much divided up into the human encounters and the monster encounters. But then every now and then they'll be like, we're gonna put the rats and the people you're fighting in the, and then you can kind of use the puzzles that way in the same way you did Last of Us, where it's like, well, if I throw a rock and break this guy's lantern, then the rats will all kill him, and I don't have to. So there's a lot of cool stuff. Just kind of blew me away from an expectations to reality level.
Yeah, totally. That is like the story that almost everyone seems to have with this game.
Mm-hmm. You played it on stream, didn't you, Matt?
Yep.
Yeah. I think I seem to recall watching a fair amount of that.
Yeah, it's good. The music. I cannot say enough good stuff.
I love the fucking kid. What's his name?
I don't remember.
But he's just this adorable little kid, and you're like trying to like tell him what's what, and he's like, "Oh, I'm sorry." Every time you scold him, he's like, "Oh, I'm so sorry. That's on me. What am I gonna?" I'm like screaming at him. You can't make noise. He's like, "Sorry, Hugo." Yeah,
Hugo.
Saying sorry in this adorable little way where I'm like, you scamp. I can't be mad at you. and then we like meet some other people, and they're being loud, and he's like, "Be quiet." And I'm like, "You fucking tell him, Hugo."
Yeah. Oh yeah, you mean yeah. You're like in the castle, man. It's all coming back. That's a good game. There's some good parts in the latter part of that game. Cool part of the castle. You get to the castle?
Yeah, I'm in a castle.
Like
currently.
You're like, man, we're gonna make this our castle. Maybe
there's a puzzle where you go through the process of making it your castle by evicting the rats,
torches, and that's a good one.
Yeah. In this like super weird wow, the lore is maybe very cool in this game because they come into that chamber, which is like perfectly like laid out in a way where it's like these movable torches are built to drive rats into these holes, and everyone's like, well, that's fucked up. Does that mean this stuff all predates the rats?
Yeah.
How are these traps made up if the rats just got here?
Like going into that game, it's a question of, or up to that part, it's a question of like, is any of this real, or is this like what's that other game? Senua's Sacrifice. Is this like a interpretation of the plague ravaging this girl's life, basically?
Right.
And then you get to the parts where people are talking about like, no, see, we knew about the rat magic back in 62 or whatever, and you're just like, oh no, fuck, this is There's no metaphor. This is like
real
literally
fucking magic
tornadoes of rats are happening. Heck of a game.
Made by
that's a lot of
Asobo Studio, who also did Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020.
Oh, there you
You
go.
can really see that pedigree.
Yeah, wow.
Tornadoes of Rats coming as DLC to Flight Simulator.
Yeah, hopefully. That'd be dope. I'd be into that. Any other games you've been playing, Brando?
No games. I will give one quick post-mortem on Fear Street, which I have watched the third and final movie of.
1666. Was there a fire?
Yeah, 1666. There was not a fire.
Fuck!
And I think that is a very good, like, I don't want to say this in a bad way, but a very good like intro to horror franchise for people to get into if they ever wanted. Like, there's just enough, oh, that's fucked up, but also like a lot of like, oh, this is just a fun teen romp where people are trying to solve this mystery in a very "Are you afraid of the dark" or Goosebumps kind of way, and then it like escalates up at the right times where you're like, oh god, now this is closer to Friday the 13th, and I had a lot of fun watching. And speaking of a good like lore based world, I would like to learn more about. There's a lot of like, oh, I'd love to learn more about this, and I'd love to know how this happened. And there is a pretty satisfying like tying of it all together at the end. So, would recommend.
Heck of a. Mr. B. Mr. Butt Stuff. Kyle Barf
right.
himself.
There we go.
What you been up to?
I would love to see you go into like a DMV and be like, my name's Kyle Butt Stuff.
Yeah. BUJTF.
Yeah.
It's pronounced butt stuff.
Yeah.
It's like Bufflin. How do you spell Bufflin?
It's like
BGY.
Bifuglen.
Yeah,
Bifuglen.
Bifuglian.
Biflugen. I've just been playing lots of Magic the Gathering Arena. They put out the Forgotten Realms new D&D set on their... They put it out on Arena before they actually put the cards out, so a lot of people got a bit of a head start playing drafts and stuff on there.
Is that okay in the community? That seems like something people would be mad about. That seems like if Brandon Magic Brandon and I, the Brandon who played Magic and I were still friends, that seems like a thing he would be fucking pissed about if Arena digital cards came out before physical real Magic, quote unquote.
I would like to say that they call me Magic Brandon, but not because of the cards.
That's why
because of my prowess in the bedroom.
Yeah, it's like Magic Mike, Magic Brando.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't feel too bad about it. Kind of gives you a chance to see where cards land in the market and what you want to buy before you start sinking money into them.
Yeah. It's also worth mentioning, like, trademark Dungeons & Dragons is literally Dungeons and Dragons, which is also owned by Wizards.
Like, lots of big names in there, I guess, like
Dritz,
Lolth,
Do'Urden.
Yeah.
What are some other D&D? I'll say D&D names. You tell me if they're in there. The Eye of Vecna.
Yeah, Vecna's in there.
What's the big lich who makes the soulmonger? Curse of Strahd. Is Strahd in there?
I don't know. I don't think so. No.
Is it like all D&D? The whole thing? Is it like the current canon, quote unquote, like Eberron stuff, or?
I think so.
What do we got?
I couldn't tell you like 100% because I'm not that into the D&D lore, but like you got Minsk, Delina, Wild Mage, Gretchen,
Baldur's Gate's Minsk,
Kallian. Yeah, like they're doing a pretty good job of it. They translate well into the cards. I find the thing that this set adds that's different than the other sets is they actually add dungeons as kind of outside cards. So some creatures, instants, sorceries, whatever's they'll do counter target spell and then venture into dungeon, and then off of that you get 3 dungeon choices to go kind of pick your path down.
Weird.
Yeah, it's different.
Are the choices dictated by the cards, or where do the dungeon choices come from?
Once the card says venture into dungeon, you get your choice right off the bat of 3 dungeons to start in.
Like there are just 3 that everybody, no matter who's playing, gets to choose from?
Yeah, you get the Dungeon of the Mad Mage,
Classic.
the Lost Mine of Fendelver,
Dungeon of the Mad
and
Mage is the Undermount. We did that
Yeah.
in our campaign. What's that guy's name? He was in our campaign. He's I don't remember. The Mad Mage. The
Yeah.
fuck is his name? He sundered the old world. He brought the Underdark about. Oh, I can't.
How do you think he would feel if he knew all these things about him but didn't know his name?
It's like Hitler, so I don't give a fuck. He was a bad dude. I don't care what he thinks about me.
That guy who killed all the Jewish people.
Yeah. Who's that guy at the concentration camps?
World War II. What was his name?
I can't remember.
Jim?
Goebbels or something?
I'm trying to see if he's an actual card here.
What if I just type like Undermountain Mad Mage? Hallister Blackcloak. That's what it is.
That's right. I remember that.
Hallister Blackcloak?
Hallister Blackcloak.
Huh.
The Mad Mage. I'm such a nerd.
He's not a
man.
card yet.
I know
He's not a
so
card,
much
but yet, anyways.
fucking useless. I wish I knew half as much about real history as I did about the histories of like Forgotten Realms or what's the Saga Fire and Ice World or like Star Wars. I know more about the history of Coruscant than I do about Canada, where I live and have my entire life.
It's a cool set. I mean, it's a lot of fun to draft just based off of the whole dungeon aspect that it brings to the table. And it seems like a lot of these cards are going to be real powerful moving forward. Right off the bat, there was a card, the Book of Exalted Deeds, that got banned already in Standard 2022. So
Right out the gate.
yeah, it was literally just a few days ago. So I think the set's been out for a week or two online, and just 2 days ago they banned the Book of Exalted Deeds.
Trying to see what the Book of Exalted Deeds does here. At the beginning of your end step, if you gain 3 more life, create a 3/3 white angel, talking with flying. For 3 white and tap, you can exile the book to put an enlightened counter on target angel it gains. You cannot lose the game, and your opponents can't win the game. So it makes a platinum angel, which is that good? Activate only is it like
in standard. In
platinum
standard,
angel was
it's
never banned.
in standard. So what people were doing in standard with it was they were using it with manlands, and they would enchant the manland to become an angel type, and then
Manland is
put
a
the
land
token.
that creates a creature, right?
It's a land that turns into a creature
Okay,
until end of turn.
Okay.
So they would turn it into a creature, put the token on the land, and then at the end of turn, it would go back down into their pool. So there you'd have no way to remove it.
Is that really?
It warps the
Is
standard
that how the
format.
rules were? Is that how the rules read? Magic. I took the judge test and failed. Magic is like is a lawyer game. It is a like game of language where it comes down to like specifically the exact wording on the cards. And this says put an enlightened counter on target angel. It gains, referring to target angel. But I don't know that to me that seems like they could have errated that of like. No, the card says target angel. It gains refers to target angel. So as soon as the card becomes not an angel, it will lose the token. I don't know. That seems like you could have errated that without maybe banning it outright, especially because there used to be a creature that did that exact same fucking thing.
Yeah, it's just different in the standard format because it warps decks.
Yeah. No, that it seems broken. It doesn't need another card to be broken. It just
They used Faceless Haven. Sorry, that was the manland that they used, and it would let you tap 3 snowlands, and the creature would become a 4/3 creature type, a 4/3 creature of all creature types until end of turn.
it's still a land.
Yeah.
Interesting. Interesting.
But I mean, super fun set. It's unique. Just the dungeons are fun. I don't know a whole bunch of the lore, but I know there's some big names in it, like of course Drizzt and Loth.
My boy Drizzt Dlc.
Minsk,
My boy
yeah.
Drizzt Dlc. Woo!
Drizzt.
That's like corrupted
Drizzy D.
Drizzt. That's when Drizzt goes back to Loth.
Yeah. Another big feature they added, I guess card type they added, is class types. So
Kind of like upper
They-
class, lower class.
no, they brought them in as enchantments. It's like barbarian class, warlock class, rogue class,
Oh, like
bard.
D&D character classes.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, shit.
And they're enchantments. So when they enter the battlefield, they do They do one thing, and then they have levels to them. You can pay a certain amount of mana to upgrade the enchantment to the
wild,
second
man.
level, and then the third level.
What is
so those,
Magic? You know, what is like it has the same problem that MMOs have, where every few years, like every year and a half, I guess, you need to have a new set with new keywords. Like you need to have new mechanics, and they have been recycling stuff as they go, but like it's just many things right now. There are like there used to be 5 types of cards when I played, and now there are like 20 or something. Like it's wild, man.
Well, the class cards are just enchantments on their own. The only like brand new thing that this set brought to the table is the dungeons, and that's
sure, yeah. For this set specifically, but like just Magic as a property, like how do you maintain that card base, right? Without just being like, you can no longer use these 30 oldest sets or whatever because they're just antiquated compared to modern game design. It's the MMOs do it by releasing a new expansion and then making all the old content completely obsolete. But Magic can't do that.
Well, that's why they have like your different formats. You got Vintage, Legacy, Modern, Standard.
And I guess the ban lists apply to different formats is how they curate some of that.
Yeah, absolutely.
It is just so crazy to me that like I stopped playing Magic like literally 15 years ago, and it was an old game at that point. It was long in the tooth 15 years ago, and to hear that it is not only still going, but there are all these mechanics that I've never heard of is just wild. Just wild. In my day, damage used to go on the stack and then resolve. Now it just resolves. Is there even a stack anymore? Probably not.
Oh yeah, no, there's a stack for sure.
Yeah, back in my day, you could target your own.
Only old heads will know it as a stack, though.
Yeah, no, it's. I mean, if you were playing a combo deck, you used to have to know how the stack worked.
Yep.
Which for the not Magic heads is the very specific order that like turns play out in. Things literally stack on top of one another and then resolve top down, which can have interesting effects.
Yep.
Magic. Wild. Just play auto batteries, man. Just play. You get all the drafting dopamine that you like. You get the like, I made a powerful deck, good bursts of chemicals in your brain.
For me, I like the theory crafting around new decks. Like I've, especially now they've just announced a standard 2022 format where it's the most recent 4 sets only. It's nice to just like craft in those 4 blocks and come up with a unique brew.
That's actually something like that would be approachable. For the reason I don't play Magic anymore is like I just don't have the money to feel like I can compete in any standard card base, right? There's 35, 91, 30 plus years of cards out there that I do not have. So to like start today with 0 cards anymore, like it feels like I have to spend $1 million fucking dollars to even like start to get in there.
Like the way I got into MTGA is because there's a site out there that collects all of the promo codes.
Yeah.
So you can literally go to that website, plug in all those promo codes, and get like 30, 40 free packs just to open and start your collection.
Yeah.
And like with each pack you open, you collect wild cards, and those wild cards will let you pick cards outside of your collection to build up whatever deck you want. And you do hit a certain point, like with this new set, I have purchased quite a few packs of it myself, but once you get a 4 of a kind of that card, it rewards you with wild cards after you start collecting that card in your set. So it does get quite easy to collect a lot of wild cards down the line. It's just harder to collect like the rares and the mythic, of course.
Totally. Arena, it is not so bad to get the cards.
Yeah,
because you can play for free and earn cards, but like Paper Magic, completely unapproachable.
Yeah,
how do you
for sure.
How do you even start?
You have to have a friend that gets you into it or something.
Yeah, they used to sell like reasonably powerful. I remember they used to sell a premium with a Tarmogoyf in it. Not it was the good Goyf. Was one green and 1 for a 1/2. Whatever that really strong Goyf was. And I remember the thinking being like, well, this is for new players, right? They have some powerful cards so they can compete. And then all the current players just bought those decks because the card was worth more than the deck and sold the fucking card. And like they never did that again.
Yeah, for sure.
So
Wizards learned from that really quick because they also get a lot of those kind of like starter decks, those hit like a lot of the supermarkets, like Walmart and stuff, and those just got robbed all the time. People just pulling the cards out of the packs and
Remember
stuff.
those like shitty gold and silver decks from 7th where the silver one was blue-white and had Visidrix as the rare, and the gold one was green-red and had whatever the 7/7
There was some really
Visidrix
bad
was.
decks. Like if you're gonna get into
30
Magic,
cards
I would
each.
like some of those decks are okay just to kind of like play around with your friends, but like going to a local game store, you're not gonna get anywhere with
You'll
that.
get laughed out of the store.
Yeah.
Play Arena, I guess, is the... You only get 5 cards. per
Honestly,
pack in Arena.
play Arena until you can get your grasps on it.
Or just play Arena for free and don't spend money, because the monetization in Arena is actually like very approachable. You can pretty much draft like every 3rd day if you want to.
Yep. Yeah. The battle pass just recently reset too, so it's worth picking up too because you get a shitload of free packs, you get a bunch of mythics and stuff, and the currency you get out of it is enough to buy the battle pass for next season, I believe.
Yeah, that's right. I always like a good battle pass that if you finish it gives you back your money.
And if you do good in drafts, if you you spend the gem currency to enter drafts, if you do good in drafts, you earn that currency back plus some.
Yeah, plus the card. Like that's always been the case with drafts, right? Is you pay to enter the draft, but if you win, you get cards and prizes more than the value you put in.
Yeah.
Which used to be
it's fun.
Used to be
and
fun.
it's not that bad. It's like 5 wins, four wins to break even, 5 wins, and then you start profiting.
Yeah.
And they're usually the seven games.
It's insidious though. You think of it like real Magic, where you're like, I got a pack, that's profit. But remember, these are arena packs where you only get 5 cards, and the ratios are totally different in them. Where like
I think you get 8 cards per pack.
Yeah, whatever it is. You don't get the 15 though. And
No.
Like the arena packs are they have different ratios. Like you'll get, I think it's on average, or it used to be in my day, a mythic every box and a half. It was like every 35 packs or whatever it was. And like those numbers are way different on arena, because it wouldn't make sense to it would not make sense to keep the same ratios with different size packs.
Honestly, it depends.
Honestly,
it's buying Magic, like the cardboard crack Magic, is totally different than MTGA for sure.
big time.
Because you can buy, like, right out of the gates, if you want to go buy a box of Magic, they're going to ask you, okay, well, do you want a draft box, a set box, or a collector box? And you're just like, well, what's the difference?
Yeah. And MTGA cards aren't worth anything. You cannot trade them, so they are literally worthless.
Exactly. Yeah.
Which is also like that's the really insidious part. Real Magic, you have these cards that theoretically have value, and you could sell them one day. Your MTGA cards are never ever going to be worth anything.
No.
Ever.
And they'll cycle out and stuff and all that.
They didn't have to print the card. Like what a good deal for Wizards of the Coast. Didn't have to print the card, didn't have to ship it, didn't have to do anything, and they still got your dollar out of you.
Yeah.
Still got the dollar out of me. I've spent money on MTGA.
Oh, me too. Absolutely.
Anything else you got? Any other games here? Should we?
Oh no, I just playing more stupid Warzone.
Stupid Warzone.
Stupid
I like
Warzone.
Call of Duty Warzone. I've never tried stupid Warzone, but
It's not bad now. They got the Resurgence mode is pretty fun. Like you can play Resurgence mode and squad up with randoms and not feel too bad once you get wiped.
What does that mean?
So in order to wipe a whole squad, you have to kill all 4 people. Once you die, you get a timer countdown to just drop back into the map, unless the whole squad wipes.
Oh, weird. That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
That's it's like the Halo, the co-op Halo. One person stay alive, so we can all respawn on you as we just throw ourselves at legendary over and over again.
One guy just gets in a vehicle and is just hauling ass away from the fights.
We'll hide in the corner here.
Yeah, that's usually how it goes. Yeah, it's fun though. I'm having a good time with it. It's like I say, it's a great way to play it without having to squad up or feel bad just playing solo and just getting murdered right off the hop.
Yeah. Stupid Warzone.
Stupid Warzone.
Cool. Let's take a quick break here, and we'll come back. Talk about some news. Hot new console announced last week to talk about. That's what we call a tease in the biz. See you on the other side of this musical break. Let's talk about some news, gentlemen.
All right.
Top story tonight. The Steam Deck.
Get your pre-orders.
Well, you might have
If you
missed out
can.
if you didn't. Yeah, it's Steam announced a handheld portable PC called the Steam Deck. I don't understand spec talk, so I didn't pull any of the tech specs, but it was described as a little more powerful than current consoles, which seems very reasonable for the.
I can still reserve one.
Really?
Yeah, as of now.
Yeah, so they're taking a $5 reservation fee right now on Steam to like reserve the right to pre-order, and it seemed to work fine in Canada. I don't know. I got on there no issue, and
Yeah, me too. I mean, like I was saying, like Steam was acting like a lot of people were using Steam, but short of that, I didn't run into any like errors or anything.
no, and then while we were getting our reservations in with no problem, I saw everybody else in the world apparently just couldn't get in, servers down, all this stuff, which makes me suspicious of our easy pre-orders, if they were real or what. But yeah, apparently I have a reservation in there for a pre-order, which ships in 3 models, which the only difference seems to be storage size, can be upgraded with micro SD.
There's a screen difference.
Really?
Yeah, one of the highest price model had some sort of glare-free screen that the other two
Oh,
didn't.
it's just like a coating that they put on it.
Yeah,
The
I don't know.
VS, oh no, that's there's a thing called a Stream Deck, and now there's a thing called a Steam Deck, which is really causing a lot of SEO problems.
Stream Deck
here.
like a spray deck.
No, it's
Premium anti-glare etched glass.
this is
Oh, there you
literally an Elgato. It says Stream Deck on the top. It is literally a Stream Deck. Just it's like shortcuts. It's hotkeys.
Switchboard. Yeah.
Boo-doo-doo-doo.
Yeah, I got the mid tier one. I probably, because I was feeling drunk with power, and also possibly literally drunk from the night before.
Also booze.
Yeah. I was feeling that highest price model, which brings in like $800 plus.
Very expensive.
It's very expensive, and I was like, should I just do it and hate myself for a little bit, and then be glad I did it at some point? And then it said that it was shipping a full quarter after the medium and low tier
I see.
thing, and
like
I
a
was
later
like,
release.
I don't want everyone to get one and me be like, well, see you in 3 months.
It's because of the glass,
Yeah, I assume so.
for sure.
So
yeah,
I ended up
it
getting that
is-
middle tier.
It is about the size of a Wii U pad, it looks like. Apparently it is really heavy, though, like shockingly heavy.
I would imagine just with what's in it.
Yeah, and Valve has said anywhere from 2 to 8 hours battery time, which
That's a big difference in battery time. 2 is almost unacceptable for any video game.
2 would... I bet most modern AAA games... I would be surprised if you get 2 hours, honestly.
For sure.
Like,
Right.
I don't really know where
So-
battery tech is, I guess, but like, you know, you could probably play Minesweeper for 8 hours, but if you're going
I'd
to
say
play...
Hades or something you could play for 8 hours.
Yeah, like the less graphics intensive, less
Right.
computational heavy.
Yeah.
But like I maintain that 2 is not enough
No.
for anything.
No.
Like you should have put a bigger battery in that and charged more. At the same time, I'm buying it,
Yeah.
and I'll just have it plugged in if I need to play for more than 2 hours. But
It's going to ship with a custom Steam OS here, which is Linux-based, which they're not all Steam games work with Linux, actually, which is really interesting. Of the top 10 games, there's a anti-cheat system called Proton they use. 4 of the top 10 Steam games right now do not work with Proton, which is their top 10 games, 40% don't work. Steam has said they're going to be better about it when it gets closer to launch. But also they've said, this is a PC, you can just install whatever operating system you want on it. If you know and have the wherewithal how to install Windows, which is not hard in today's day and age, yeah, you can just install Windows on it and run native Windows games if you want. They are kind of pitching it as sort of the stream, the heavy games, and like the Cyberpunks of the world, and then take the smaller indie games with you on the go. But if you install Windows and have like reasonable storage in this thing, it'll literally just be a portable PC. Put whatever you want on it. Put Game Pass on it.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know? This
seems
would
like
be
a-
a dope Game Pass machine.
right, like imagine being able to take your little Microsoft Game Pass games on the go. You never have to buy a video game again, unless you want a video game that isn't on Game Pass, which I don't think exists.
Nope. Pretty sure there are none.
No,
Only Death Stranding, and that's why
Right.
we're in the problem we're in.
that's right.
It's ships with a dock. I'm unclear if you need the dock to connect to the TV. Initially, I thought I had heard you did not, but reading into it, well, gleaning whatever info I can from screenshots and what people think and all this, it seems like you will need the dock, which is sold separately to connect it to a TV. It doesn't seem like the ports are on the unit itself, which I don't feel great about, but you know,
No.
here we are.
Well, it's just a pretty fucked up thing for you not to be able to figure out before you pre-order.
Yes, it definitely does not come with the dock. The question mark is, will this hook up to my TV, or do I need an extra thing to do it with?
Right. Like the fact that they were letting us pre-order stuff and we're not saying there's an HDMI port on it, yes or no.
Yeah, we're not pre-ordering. We're reserving the right to pre-order.
We're reserving the right. You're right.
But yes,
I've not given them any money yet.
There's
except
really
$5.
no info. The video they have on Steam is a 3D render. I bet. Well, some of these probably physically exist by now, I guess, if they're supposed to be shipping in December 2021. But it seems real early. It seems like they just sort of put a picture up and were like, "You guys want this, right?" And everyone went, "Yeah!" Just threw money at it to the point where everything crashed. But December 2021, they're supposed to start shipping. So I have.
Dope. I
yeah.
love my idea of that thing. Whether this ends up being that or not is remains to be seen. But there is a world where this thing they're making is the only thing that's been missing from my life. In a world where I'm like, I kind of don't want a whole PC, but I kind of want to be able to play some of those lower Steam games.
It'll depend on how those like touchpads work, right? How are you going to emulate a mouse on? Imagine holding the Wii U. It has joysticks like the Wii U, but it also has those like touchpads for your thumb. That like how are you gonna do the motion where you need to scroll a mouse across the screen, right? Are you gonna like left thumb across the pad and then have to right thumb? Like how is
so
that stuff
many-
going to be integrated?
So many games now have controller support that works properly.
But
I
not
feel like
Steam controllers. Remember that was the thing with the Steam controller had those pads and
right, but video games in general.
right.
That you can like I feel more confident that games are at a point where you do not need a mouse to play them more so than ever before. Not entirely,
Sure.
but
Like Steam tried to do this Steam controller thing with their pads and it turned out that that's not the best way to do it. It is not a good replacement for a mouse. You can't play StarCraft on a Steam controller. You kind of can. But
Right.
like it doesn't really work. And so for them to like that is their these things have these trackpads. Are they saying like, well, you know, there's a certain type of game that maybe just don't play it on this. You're not going to have
Totally.
mouse fidelity. How are you going to play like
Call of Duty.
yeah, how are you going to play first person
Right. Call of Duty you can play against controller players just fine, but
Yeah.
thumb pad? But you theoretically shouldn't be able to because you're not on a controller. You're using this weird surrogate.
well, and that gets into more I wonder if it reads that input as a controller or a mouse.
I think
I think
if it
it'll
reads it
read
as a controller,
controller.
I don't think it will. I think it'll read it as keyboard and mouse. If it reads it as a controller, that seems like a way you could just make that system the controllers versus controllers and keyboards versus keyboards mean nothing.
Well, when I play Warzone, I'm playing against PlayStation, Xbox, anybody. It doesn't match me to platform,
Right.
but it does detect it. Even if I have my controller turned on and I'm using my mouse and keyboard, it's on mouse and keyboard unless I've loaded up the game on the controller.
Right. But the Steam Pad is neither a controller nor is it a mouse and keyboard. It's in a weird in-between spot where maybe it doesn't matter. Maybe it's worse at everything and nobody should use it for shooters. Or like maybe there's a weird thing where like, no, it's not quite as fast as a mouse and keyboard, but it blows a controller out of the water. Like it's,
Well, even nowadays, like, so there's so many pros using controllers that the auto aim and aim assist in games are just leading towards controller players, regardless.
yeah, there's no like PC traditionally doesn't use auto aim or aim assist. Counter Strike and those games on PC do not have auto aim or aim assist. Call of Duty does. That one I'm not actually sure on PC. That's
It does
the one I
heavily.
don't know. Does it?
If you're using a controller, you have auto assist.
A controller
or
always,
auto aim.
but mouse and
Yeah.
keyboard. Is,
No, not mouse and keyboard. No.
That's kind of always been the way it goes. Mouse and keyboard, you are much more precise, but you don't have assists, and then controller, you can't spin as fast. Which I know there are people that argue that. You're wrong. You're wrong. That it is just physics and science. You can always make a mouse scroll faster than you can set a fucking joystick to. Fight me.
Yeah.
That's the trade-off, right?
Yeah.
That's that is why I don't do this anymore, but I used to. When I got a new game, turn the turn sensitivity immediately up to infinity, like as high as it will go in literally every single game. Shoot, it doesn't matter. And like for the first day, it's like, well, this is unplayable garbage, and then you just get used to it, and now can turn faster than everybody else playing on a controller, and just have this inherent advantage. Used to be really good in Jedi Academy. You turn your turn sensitivity up all the way in Jedi Academy, you were just a whirling barbarian from Diablo.
Just to confirm as well, the dock is sold separately and has HDMI 2.0.
Right, but does the unit itself have HDMI 2.0? Right? Do I need a dock to hook up to my TV?
Yeah.
Or
No, the unit doesn't have HDMI. It's just USB-C.
Oh, there you go.
And then the dock plugs in via USB-C?
The
bottom?
I would assume the dock has just the USB-C that sits right into it.
That makes
just looking
it
at
at
the
least
tech
makes more
specs.
sense that the specs are available.
7-inch nits. Let's see.
I was originally under the impression that it was just like, we're still working on that.
I see charging input, but I don't see anywhere where it says inputs or ports. All I see is charging input is a 45 watt USB Type C PD power supply, which is the one you use for your phone. Any brick.
Yeah.
I could 100% see them not letting you go.
Fucked.
An HDMI ports are like,
You think it's
they're
expensive?
the thing between versions of like even my MacBook is it's like, well, this one's way more expensive. What does that have? And it's like, it's just got HDMI.
But that might have been a thing where like we at some point we went to HDMI on computers. We stopped using VGA and used HDMI. I don't think does Mac use DVI? But I see what you're saying. That would totally add to the cost. Where
Yeah.
Right.
And Gabe Newell has even said like this thing is priced competitively. It was quote painful to price it how they did. They are actively, it sounds like, losing money on the tech. That would make a lot of sense. That external display though. Hang on, what is this? Oh, the dock. I see. Okay, what is the Stream Deck dock?
I mean, if I get
Plug the device into a TV or monitor, similar to how the Switch can be played portable or docked. Yeah, so it sounds like it will not hook up to the TV, but
right, and you'll need the dock, which is like, I agree with you. That's
keep the cost down. That makes
like
sense.
if the goal here is to give people the option, and they're like, well, if people literally want to use this as a portable, let's not overcharge them.
But
Well, it
I'm
says
like 90
USB-C with DisplayPort 1.4 alt mode support up to 8K 60 Hz or 4K 120.
And I
So
also
it sounds like that USB-C is a display out like the Switch, like Alex is saying in the chat as well.
Oh, Ethernet, yes. Okay.
Well, fuck, what do I know then?
Yeah.
Because you just need to buy like a dongle for the Switch and you can just plug it into the TV
Yeah.
without the dock.
But again, it is another piece of hardware. You can't do it natively. You cannot plug your Switch with no dock, no hardware.
Right. Yep.
The price thing makes that make a lot of sense.
I'm excited.
I hope. Looking at the control, like the sticks are a little high. Like the right stick is right beside your buttons, which is
I feel like
counter to most controllers now.
I feel like comparing it to the Switch, the sticks aren't that high, even compared to the Switch. It's how it's just fucked where they cram those buttons.
Yeah, well, maybe compared to the buttons, the stick and the buttons are on the same level, which is weird because you're used to like making a like upward diagonal motion.
Right. I kind of think this might rule when I look at it. I'm like, oh, that sounds like maybe where I want it.
I'm doing the motion right
good.
now, and it's like actively already making my thumbs hurt to like.
Like if my
I do
thumbs
not
are pointing
like the
up.
Wii U sticks. Like I already find that thing. The Switch. It's not ergonomic, but it makes my hands hurt like nothing else.
Right, and I think there's something, and it's tough because you don't have it in your hand. But when I'm picturing how I'm going to hold that thing, my thumbs go up when I'm holding onto the sticks, and I would rather move my pointing up thumb slightly to the right, then I would try and yank it down.
It's also got paddles on the back. It
Yeah.
has like your
Fucking love
standard
paddles.
triggers, and then it also has 2 paddles on either side on the underside of it. What do they call those? ZL and Z? No. RT.
Yeah,
Yeah, ZL and ZR. I
and
think.
ZR on Nintendo. Yeah.
There are 2 of them, so it'd be like ZL and YL or whatever, and ZR and YR. Wild. Go get your reservations in if you want one, because apparently they're gonna go soon.
How long do you think you get joystick drift?
They've said
It's the
specifically
over under.
They have specifically said we are paying special attention to Joy-Con or not Joy-Con, joystick drift, and we're gonna do our damnedest to make sure we don't have it. And they even had a thing in their trailer of somebody very pointedly fucking joysticking without drift.
I think if it can survive like the Nintendo Mario Party 64 tests, that's the true test of endurance there.
5 straight years of nonstop just fucking grinding on that thing.
Yeah, the N64 joystick literally sags to a side and doesn't drift. Like the dead zone on that thing is 99%.
Like gravity just takes over. You can like spin the controller like a clock, and the stick will just be going around in circles.
But nothing moves. Nothing moves on the screen. The stick is
No.
moving. It's like hanging loose, but that thing's not drifting at
It's
all.
got to like touch the plastic before you
that
get
thing
any
is
movement.
rock fucking solid.
Legendary.
What else I got here for news? The Ubisoft push for accountability continues. Coming out of the story, was it last year or 2 years ago now? I don't remember, but
Fucking Ubisoft.
Ubisoft went through their Me Too reckoning, and I have not shut up about this. So if you've listened to this podcast at all, you are in the know. They the place is fucked top to bottom. Sexual abuse and harassment, just in place. Yves Guillemot, the CEO, doing favors for his buddies, and saying things like Michel Ancel will not be allowed to retire while under investigation, and then quietly letting him retire while under investigation. Lying and things like that. The French labor union here has filed a new complaint for on behalf of 2 former Ubisoft employees, which says the same stuff we've been saying for a year. The complaint, I'll read you the quote from the complaint. The complaint targets Ubisoft as a legal entity for institutional sexual harassment for setting up, maintaining, and reinforcing a system where sexual harassment is tolerated because it is more profitable for the company to keep harassers in place than to protect its employees, which is the most succinct way you could possibly put that. That right there is my beef with Ubisoft spelled out perfectly.
Mm-hmm.
The complaint also accuses Cécile, it's probably Cornet if she's French, Cornet. She was the former head of the company's human resources department. And, did someone just delete my quote? What happened?
Nope.
Anonymous,
I'm not in there.
Anonymous blobfish just deleted my quote.
What?
We share a news doc, and sometimes...
Anonymous blobfish?
Well, it like assigns you an anonymous animal. So either Kyle or Brad, someone on this anonymous blobfish. Anyways,
This is not. I'm not on it. Well, maybe it's Kyle.
I'm on to you guys. I don't know the quote exactly, but it was basically the same thing of like taking steps to keep abusers in power, making sure that anyone who raised any complaints was quietly brushed under the rug.
I bet you I know exactly what happened.
What? I just didn't paste it.
No. Maybe anyone with access to this doc.
I only send to the 3 of, anyways. Where are we here? This comes off of just stories that I have read on this podcast. The story from the French paper Le Telegram from May, where they just said nothing has changed at Ubisoft since a year ago. Jason Schreier has been releasing report after report. And there's also an internal report that came out this week before last, where Ubisoft, at least shareholders, they do like a risk assessment basically. And one of their risks that they are worried about or considering in the company is they are at risk, high risk, of losing talent to internal toxicity, which goes starkly in the face of Yves' big crocodile tear speech he had at whatever the Ubisoft Play or whatever the stream last year was. Where I didn't know about any of this. I'm so disappointed. We all, I think, kind of knew that Eve was bullshitting the whole time. But it's, the worst kept secret in gaming. It's not a secret. It hasn't been for years, and meanwhile, we'll just quietly keep buying their games. Remember when they did that Black Lives Matter fucking nonsense? Not that Black Lives Matter is nonsense, to be clear. They painted Black Lives Matter as a terrorist organization in whatever the fuck that Ubisoft mobile game.
I can't remember what that game was. That was like a mobile game?
That was the the Ubisoft universe. That was I'm gonna verify.
I think it was
this.
a mobile game.
That was Yves Guillemot's brother, I believe, who.
I think I found that
I
line.
think he left. I can't remember if he left the company because of that, or if he left the company and then Eve brought him back to make that game, and then he did that fucking shit with. It's bad. It's all bad.
Do we have to get?
It's all bad. Well, the entire Guillemot family runs Ubisoft.
This is like Assassin's Creed.
This literally is. Yes,
like you got to start at the second cousin.
Yves Guillemot is the Templar CEO and has publicly and very poorly, not even hidden, not even obfuscated at all. Has just told lies. And everyone goes, oh yeah, but Assassin's Creed's pretty good this year.
That bit you were looking for, Cecile Coronet, former global of human resources, who allegedly allowed the harassment to flourish within the company. Several unnamed individuals from the human resources department for having actively participating in covering up and hiding the harasser's actions.
Yes,
that is fucked.
Yes, it was no secret. It was no secret. People are being harassed and abused and have gone through what should be the proper channels and made the proper complaints. But it all goes to Yves Guillemot.
Yeah.
And Eve
I
covers for his,
as usual,
abuser fucking rapist friends.
And I think it's important to, as always, remind people, because I think this is one of the biggest misconceptions in business, is that HR is not there for you.
No.
HR is there for the company, and HR is there to be the problem handler with employees. And I think a lot of people are like, well, go to HR. HR is the...
I mean, it's in the name. Human resources.
Where your friends are.
Yeah.
Right? You're not a person. You're a commodity to make money for them.
Yeah. HR is there to cover up the company from getting in shit. Yeah, absolutely. For sure.
It's brutal. So thoughts out to everyone who I know. I have some personal friends, and I know there are people in this community who work for Ubisoft. Thoughts out to them. They are at risk of losing talent to internal toxicity. So I would like to see Eve step down and that whole place maybe be turned over top to bottom, but they make so much money that it's so easy for me to cynically say that nothing will change. Nothing will change, unfortunately. I don't know what it would take. It would take someone to have direct evidence against Eve himself. It would have to be like Eve on video grabbing someone's ass and looking at the camera with today's newspaper and his government-issued ID and saying, I sexually assaulted this individual, and even then, I'm sure he'd find a way to fucking weasel out of it.
Ubisoft isn't unionized, are they?
I don't believe any... I don't think any video game developers in the world are.
No. But I didn't know, so I didn't want to misspeak. But that would also be a good start.
Yeah. No, this industry, like the radio industry, is completely fucked, and unions are often a good way of unfucking the industry a little bit.
Yep.
So Ubisoft still sucks, unfortunately. The people who run it, again, to be clear, the people who run it, right? There are people who put in literal thousands of hours who ruin their lives and health to make these games and put up with this abuse when they obviously should not have to.
Props to those people.
Yes, those when I say fuck Ubisoft, those are clearly not the people. The people who are in there making the games in the trenches are clearly not the people I'm referring to. It is the Michelle Ancels. It is the Yves Guillemot. It is the people who on their yachts are laughing about all the shit they got away with. Oh, it fires me up.
Assholes.
Last story I got today here is just a real quick one. This is a story we've been kind of hitting on here and there throughout the last year. Netflix, they're going to offer games. We've been or known that for a while now. It has a date now. Next year.
All right.
A real specific date.
Perfect.
Next year. They say they're going to The games are going to appear alongside other content like new documentaries or Netflix comedy specials, they say. So I imagine you will load up Netflix one day, and beside the new Tiger King Season 2 or whatever, there will be... I have so many questions. There will be a game. How do you play this game? Do you have?
I feel like
do you have a
Tiger
controller?
King's probably like a tycoon game.
Well, so I don't know if it would be the Tiger King game, but how do you have a controller that hooks up to your TV? Do you play these games with a remote? Like how do you make sure that everyone has the same input device?
Well, I feel like you can't.
Netflix?
I feel like they're gonna. I don't know where they're going with this. If they're going the way of like we've got stuff like Bandersnatch.
Well, so they build that separately. They're also like we will be continuing to look into our interactive shows and that type of content.
And I think you need it. I think you need a controller. Like I can tell you, my Roku TV, bless it. I don't want to play a video game on that controller.
No, but then they have to ship a. Sorry, go ahead, Kyle.
Yeah, no, I think it'll just be like an upgrade plan to you, whatever current plan you have with Netflix, that you pay $20 extra a month. We're going to ship out this controller to you that connects wirelessly, like the Google Stadia fancy.
But how can
low
you guarantee
latency.
that? Or is it just a given at this point? Like if you can't connect a controller, if your TV's too old that it doesn't have like smart capability, doesn't have Bluetooth or USB or a way to connect, then
Yeah, we're probably at
you're
that point
out.
almost.
Probably,
my
yeah.
last TV didn't though. I mean, it was
Unless
an
you
older
ship
TV.
something like Stadia did with the Chromecast Ultra.
But that you need to have a dongle. Oh no, that was HDMI.
Yeah, that was just
yeah,
HDMI
okay.
to the dongle.
Yeah, they could probably. I forgot that you could do that data over HDMI. They could probably figure something out.
Yeah.
I still so many questions. Are you going to stream these games? Are you going to download these games? What are these games? Like
What publishers? Yeah.
Well, it sounds like they're being internally developed and published, but also there's been talk of like, is it going to be like a Game Pass style? Are they going to license games from publishers and have them on this service? Like it. There's
I don't know.
a lot of
what ifs.
A lot of what ifs.
I don't want this. I don't think. I mean, it might come around and be good, but this is one of those things where I'm like, I'm pretty happy with what Netflix does right now.
I'm actually kind of not. I think Netflix has gotten far too expensive, and I've watched all the content I care to on Netflix. I don't pay. I mooch now. I don't pay because if you want 4K, it's like $25 a month.
Yeah.
No, I pay 18, and that's the highest.
Okay, 18.
Yeah,
25 next time.
Could do that. But yeah, you're not wrong about Netflix maybe not having the. I mean, the thing with Netflix is everything looks so good on Netflix.
Yes.
That like I give them a little bit more of a pass in the quality, where it's like Crave is the opposite, where it's like, man, Crave gets all the good shows and they all look like shit.
Yeah, Crave has like literally 1080p video,
That's the
fucking
problem.
mono audio.
You got to get yourself one of those old CRT
22
TVs that look
kilohertz.
fantastic.
Yeah, watch these Crave. No, it's modern shows on Crave that are filmed in 4K. The app Crave just fucking sucks.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Sucks, and it's so expensive. Oh, man, I know I don't pay for. I'm offended that anyone pays for it. I use Warren's Crave. He yelled I don't pay for it, but I'm offended that it is a service that they ask money for. Yeah, none of us pay for Crave. I wouldn't pay for Crave. There's no fucking chance I would pay for Crave. I would get these shows illegally on the internet like a normal person, because there's no other option in Canada, unfortunately. That's the news. Podcast at talkingreckless.com is an email address, or you can just drop these on our Discord, which is what everybody does. You can find by going to the website talkingreckless.com. Somebody wrote in this week. Nick writes in and says, it feels like we are getting out of the BR cliche a bit. What do you guys think will be the next? Or what do you guys think will be next? Or what game trope do you want to see? What do you think will be the next? Remember, everything was MMOs for a while, and then it was battle royales for a while.
We're seeing it now.
MOBAs.
It's the hero shooters with your classic squad shooter or whatever.
Yeah, we've been
Horde
there for
shooters,
a while,
you could
though.
call them.
I'd say the Overwatch likes. Like we've gone through a lot of those popping up and shutting down.
We talked right when E3 came out about the fact that it seemed like we were heading towards back into the wave of like 4-person squad PvE.
The Left 4 Dead likes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
the Left 4 Dead legs.
What do you think?
But what would I
our
like
hope
to
will be
see?
next? I want to get back to MMOs.
Well, there's
Let's
a
do it
few.
again.
Crowfall and whatever that
Souls
other one
likes.
is.
I think it'll be Souls likes. We're already starting to see it. There's a lot
Yeah.
of games that are just shamelessly like we have long animations and good combat.
I don't think that's going away
Mortal
anytime
Shell.
soon, though.
I think it'll be more like I think instead of a few indie games here and there, the Salt and Sanctuaries and things. I guess the Surge was like a AAA one. I bet we'll see more AAA takes on that.
Maybe.
It's
Maybe.
interesting too because that as a genre requires a certain amount of ability as a studio.
Yeah.
In a way that a battle royale does not. Like we're talking genres in terms of like this is like the format.
Yeah.
Whereas
Yeah.
a Souls like, there's almost an implied quality of combat about a Souls like, which you cannot guarantee people making those games are going to be able to achieve.
Yeah, they have to put a lot of time. Like when Bloodborne and Sekiro like first came out, there was a lot of people posting like clips of just how tight their frames were, like how little space in between frames and between you getting hit and not getting hit was taken into those games. And like when you get games like what's that?
Mortal
Ashes
Shell.
of the Fallen, Mortal Shell. Yeah, that was one that felt a bit clunky. There's another one, Ashes of the Fallen or Fallen something. That was
Mortal Shell was like intentionally slow though. It took me a while to get what Mortal Shell was doing, but it
Yeah.
intentionally has really slow attacks. But it has a what was it? Hardening, I think was the mechanic. It has
Yeah.
a like a weird like counter mechanic built into it.
Right. It
I
was
really
like
like
it was
Mortal
like a parry with a very large window.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I really like Mortal Shell was really unique. I like Mortal Shell quite a bit.
Yeah, there's a few that do really good on it. But
But like
I don't
other
know.
than
But
the
then even
Surge, I can't
Look at,
name
I guess,
a AAA one.
if you look at like Jedi Fallen Order, that is a Souls like.
That is one of those. That exactly is one of those games.
Yeah. And which I guess you could argue there wasn't quite the attention to quality of combat that there is usually in a Souls game, but I mean format wise, it's the exact same thing.
Yeah, totally. It is one of those games, and then I rank how good I think those games are based on when I die, how much does it feel like my fault, and how much does it feel like the game's fault. If it feels like the game's fault, I'm out. If it feels like my fault, I'm in.
Did we talk on the pre-show or the real show about me playing Demon Souls again?
I don't know.
I think you just half mentioned it in the pre-show.
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
we're getting back in there.
You and I
are playing through the
I
full
was
thing.
gonna say. Yeah,
Live
I was
on
gonna
stream.
say that the I have to have brought this up in shows prior, but I am like, I know it is a design choice. It is not bad design game, but I think it is a horrible, horrible design choice in any video game, whether it's Souls-like or not, and regardless of difficulty, to have the world respawn around you on death, but not your items.
I mean, there's a lot of games.
As long as you can
like
get
that.
those items back, like
They got
as
away
long as
from
there's
that,
farming spots,
right?
you know.
They got
They
away
did.
from that. Demon's
And I think that was,
Souls
like,
is
doing-
the only one where eventually you get to Estus and you hit a bonfire and your Estus refills and
Yeah.
but the downside of that is you cannot go and farm more healing items.
Yeah.
Right, but I think that I find that so much more enjoyable where it's
Yeah.
like
No,
I'm not increasing my odds by farming. It's me and
Well, you kind of,
like-
you totally are.
I mean
you know.
you can increase your odds by I guess dumping souls or whatever the currency is.
Yeah, well, you could
into
go
everything,
into a
but, like-
fight with 500 healing items if you wanted to.
No. That's what I'm saying. We're saying the same thing. I'm just saying like I would way rather beat the boss because I was like that time I was just flat out better.
Yeah.
They gave me the same resources and I was just better. I got better. Whereas
That was the nice thing
in
about
Demon
Sekiro
Souls,
for sure.
Yeah, and Sekiro is my favorite, and to date the only one of those games that I've finished. But there's a lot of like going in and having a very tough fight with a boss in Demon Souls and using all my items and then dying and then being like, that was my shot.
Yeah.
That was it. Like I can either go spend the time and try and get all those items which don't respawn in the world. There's ways to farm them by killing enemies.
Yeah.
But like you run through that world on your way up to the boss, and you pick up all the healing items that are inherently in that level. And if you use them,
You can go buy
they'll
'em.
put you back. They'll reset everything, but they're like, we're not going to give you the healing this time.
The shopkeepers sell.
I hope you got way
infinite-
better because,
No, the shopkeepers sell infinite healing items, so if you really got stuck, you could get souls, go buy.
but you still got to
healing
farm.
items.
Yeah.
You're just killing. You're just killing
Right.
stuff. You're always getting.
Right.
You just got to play.
Like,
You're
it's-
always getting souls as you're playing. But it's all like it's all built in. It's all the runs are way longer, but you get way more healing items, and you can replenish them as you're going. Right, where if you go out with 5 healing items, you might end with 8. You might find some where you might use them all. It's very different. There's a reason they don't you do that anymore, and there's a reason that the runs to bosses aren't like 25 minutes long anymore,
Right.
which they are in Demon's
So
Souls.
there was-
fucking
There's
brutal.
something about Demon Souls that I just find like I can tell it's a good game. I find the decisions that they actively made to be bad decisions in a way where it's like, I think there was a time where I was like, I'd like to get in on the ground floor and see what this whole thing was like. And now it's very much like, I think they fucking got her now. And I'm just going to, from here on, I would like to try all these games, but I don't think I want to
Oh,
go back.
Demon Souls is a clunky and bad game. It's just looks incredible.
I think it is actually like a beautiful, elegant artwork that takes player psychology and like really thinks about how you, the player, are thinking about the game, and just does some incredible things with its minimal systems where like you are teaching yourself. And it sounds so lame, and it sounds so cheesy and so stupid. And I think Tamor say this on the Giant Bomb Demon's Souls playthrough, but like there are real lessons that I've learned from these Souls games. These Souls games have had a positive impact on my life, and doing things that I am no good at initially, and like learning new skills and stuff. That said, I still haven't beat Demon's Souls, so I don't know. I started a new character. We'll see how this one goes.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I would love to talk a lot more about Demon's Souls. I would love to we should do a whole podcast one day about, because I initially, like you, Brando,
won't
thought
be
those
on
were
it.
bad game design decisions, and then like drank all the Kool-Aid and came around on them, and went like, no, they're the best. They're the only decisions.
Yeah, no, it's very much something like different strokes for different folks. Obviously, at the end of the day, it's something that I'm like, oh, this is a bad decision if you want me to play your game.
Yeah,
So-
modern game convention says this game is. What the fuck is up with this? Even at the time, Demon's
Right.
Souls was this weird thing out of Japan that like
Yeah.
nobody understood.
And I feel like it feels good. Like I like being in the fights with these guys. It's very much that whole like, this game is intentionally very difficult, and I couldn't beat this guy when I brought my shit, my war of assets. But I sure as shit don't think I can beat him without it. So either I'll see you when I have another 10 healing items, or I won't see you.
Yeah, fair enough. I have hit that wall like literally today. Yesterday. Fought Tower Knight, an easy boss. One of the
Yep.
bosses you just beat in 5 minutes if you've played any of those games. Fought Tower Knight, used like 30 fucking grass, and then died somehow. Used what I thought was all my grass, and had him to like a sliver and died, and then found out I had like 20 more grass, just not on my bar, and was like,
Right,
fucking
yeah.
god damn it. Stop playing this fucking game forever. Podcast, talkingreckless.com is an email address. Sorry, were there any other answers to the I sort of started talking about Dark Souls.
I would
the
selfishly, and I don't think it'll hit, but I would selfishly like pure puzzle games. I would like more pure puzzle games. It feels like I have to play every
More
one.
Baba
because
is use.
none of them.
More Outer Wilds.
Do like a witness, do a test to what was that imitation game movie with Benedict Cumberbatch about the
Oh.
machine, and if you sit across the machine, the
Yeah.
AI, and have a conversation? The Turing test.
Not Benedict Cumberbatch. What? Ex
Yeah,
Machina? You're
he's
talking
in
about Ex
Imitation
Machina.
Game. No, I'm
Right.
talking about Imitation Game, the movie.
Do they talk
which
about
is
the Turing test in the Imitation Game?
Yeah, he is Turing.
Oh yes. Okay. Sorry. Yes, I'm
Yeah.
with you. He's code cracking, right? He's
Right.
Alan Turing cracking codes
Yes.
in World War II.
And
or
then
whatever.
the
I'm with you.
Turing test was based off
Yeah,
him.
I'm back with you.
Yeah.
Yes. Did
So-
Turing invent the Turing test, or is it just named after him? Let's find out.
He like invented the concepts that I think would lead to the test that was because he basically led to modern computers.
Yes. Also, the Turing test is fallible. It turns out we have lots of
Yes.
things that have passed the Turing test, and it is not a good test. It turns out. The Chinese room. Do you know the Chinese room? The studio.
Mm-mm.
I'm sure we played games they made. I think it's the Chinese room. Hang on. Yes, it is. It refers to a famous thought experiment about. Here, I'll see if I can read it. It is basically the Turing test, where you are like passing cards in Chinese or whatever, not knowing their meaning, but you've been trained, right? If you see the red button, put this card in. You see the blue button, put this card in. Yada yada yada, and you can make conversation like that, or it can seem like you're making conversation like that, even though the person or thing organizing the words, right, physically putting the output out, has no idea what they're saying and has no meaning behind it, which is basically subverting the Turing test.
Weird.
Yeah, I got a weird mind. That's why I host this weird podcast.
Fuck yeah.
Go join our Discord and card games. My last thought. I have one more thought. Card games. We see a lot of fucking card games. A lot of card games these days, like deck
So
building.
we're saying there should be more or less, or the same amount.
More. No, that is what I think is the bubble we're in now. Maybe that is about to burst.
Yeah, like deck builders and even stuff that is like it seems like as a video
deck
game
builders.
it should not be a deck builder.
Yeah.
But then they're like put cards in it.
Yeah, roguelite deck.
Like they send it through the machine, and the
Fights.
higher ups in the machine are like, "Does it have cards in it?" And they're like, "No." And they're like, "Make all the weapons cards instead of weapons."
Fights in Tight
And then they're
Spaces
like, "Okay."
is a card game about fighting in tight spaces. It was once a combat game, and they're like, no, cards.
Mega cards. People love cards.
People
People
love
pay
cards.
for cards.
Brando loves cards. He used to be holding the cards on our logo. He
used to be
loves
holding the
cards so
cards.
much.
I love that I've evolved from like as that joke really took off, and now I've evolved to like card games are maybe my least favorite kind of video game.
It was the most meta joke.
Yeah.
Podcast at talkingreckless.com is that email address. Join us here on the show if you like it. Get your thoughts out. Go join the Discord. We have a Minecraft server. It is Java edition also. So if you're playing Bedrock on consoles or something, unfortunately can't get on it. But we do have a Minecraft server which has there's like a mod, or I guess where you can do
That
like
live map.
yeah, you can do a live like it's not top down, it's isometric, so it has like depth and height to it, but you can see a live top down view of the Minecraft server, like people playing on it, which is like the most amazing fucking thing.
That's cool.
It
Yeah, I
is
was
so
checking
dope.
that out earlier.
I don't really want to play Minecraft right now, but man, do I like watching people move around on that server. Go and get all that stuff over on the Discord.
Very
And
cool.
the movie club. And what's coming up movie club this week?
It's
Point
been moved to
Break.
tomorrow, and we're watching Point Break.
Point Break. You ever fire your gun
Fuck
up in the air
yeah.
and go, ah?
So good.
It's a great film.
It's
And
also
if
referenced in Hot Fuzz. Also a great film.
If you watch, I just watched that whole trilogy the other day.
That's really Point Break is where the skydiving shooting, right? Falling
Yeah.
out of the plane.
Yeah.
Okay. Very good.
Yeah,
Very
it's
good.
incredible.
like
It's
20
also
minutes.
we owe everything that Fast and Furious became to everything Fast and Furious was, and Fast and Furious was just a ripoff of Point Break. So
100%. Yeah.
That new one not reviewing so well. F9.
people are never ready. It'll bounce back. Give it 2 years, and it'll have a 98 on
Okay.
Rotten Tomatoes.
Fair enough. It's art before its time.
They need to
The
you need to
memes.
see 10, and then be like, "Fuck, was 9 good though?"
Did the memes? I read it was actually a meme about how the Dom Fast 9 family memes came out of nowhere and like hit so heavily that like it's like is this the marketing company like forcing these fucking memes out into the internet? It's like how it feels.
You're right. I have no idea, but I don't think I've ever seen a meme. I mean, that Star Wars one blew up quick,
Yeah.
but it felt like there was
Which Star Wars?
the one with young Anakin and Padme having the conversation in
yes.
the field.
Yeah.
It
That
felt like
one's
that had more of like a like a pre-trail. Like it felt
well,
like you could see that one build, and
That's
then
a
get to be the
classic
biggest meme in the
though.
world.
That's been around.
It's
That's not
no,
like a new Star Wars
It's having
movie
its
came
moment.
out.
It's happening. It's having its moment now.
Yeah.
But you're right. It's not a. It's not a.
It's
new
not like we
meme.
need to sell Star Wars quick. Get the Padme meme out.
It's just weird that like I'm not saying they didn't do it. They might have done it. Fast and Furious doesn't need to sell shit. Like they make so much money.
It's the Russians.
It's true.
Man. It's the
true.
Russian.
is
This is how this is their new social engineering thing. They're fucking with the Americas. Somehow F9 being huge is. Man, in today's episode of IBO on the anime podcast, the Iron Blooded Orphans, I shit you not, they had this whole thing about like yada yada yada, and they're coming down to this big point about like what it all means, ... And on the podcast, I'm like, he's gonna say family, isn't it? And then he fucking says family in the show. And lost my absolute shit. Literally says it's about family.
That's perfect.
I'm really working on becoming the kind of guy that's offended by the memes so that I can be like, you guys don't get it. You guys don't know how serious
How
the
dare
family
you.
thing really is.
No, it is about family. You don't even. You can't say that.
Oh man.
Stop laughing about it.
You've never lost.
Dom would
anyone.
never fight a
I
dinosaur.
feel like they're reaching peak
Or
memes
will
too.
he?
Because I saw a full Warzone clip of like a loadout of a guy purchasing Dominic Toretto and him kicking a door open and proceeding to kill everybody in the building and say it was all about family.
Now
You can
they're,
see. You can see in real time him joining like the who would win versus Goku Superman thing. It's like or Dom because
that exists. That
100%.
meme,
pretty good.
I
for
guarantee
sure.
that meme you said exists, but like they aren't funny or clever, and they're way too popular because, like you said, they just added Dom to existing funny memes.
Yeah.
And that's why popular memes are the worst memes because it's always like they catch fire and then the bad people get into
There's
them.
some pretty
like
good
the
ones
like
sometimes.
the people who are bad at making memes are like, I need to make a meme because everyone's making this meme. The best memes are the ones where it's like, I found this very obscure thing
Yes,
from the show
usually
that only
old.
you've seen.
Hopefully,
Yeah.
it's like 25 years old.
Right.
I don't know. The Dom memes seem sus, is what I'm saying. Like,
Yeah, they totally
seem
could be.
very sus. What are your thoughts on the Dom memes? We should get to the bottom of this.
Spoiler cast on it.
Spoiler cast on the Dom memes. We'll get. We were gonna get Paul Hellier. We'll get Paul Hellier on. That'll be our like conspiracy theory one. He's the aliens guy, the Thor the benevolent Venusian from Venus, Venusian. Write in your thoughts here on the Dom Memes podcast. TalkingRocks.com. Go join our Discord, and we'll let you get out of here. Thanks very much, Kyle, for making this happen, being here with us on Saturday.
Hey, yeah, always a pleasure.
Brandon Lynch, tent pole of this podcast. Thank you very much.
Yes. Thank you for having me.
And you at home, thanks very much for listening or watching, however you enjoy this. I feel like we're a 5-star podcast. I hope you do too. If you want to leave us a rating or review, I would very much appreciate that. And we'll see you here next week on the next episode. Seriously, go rate and review us because, like, I say it every week, and like nobody does it. It's like thousands of people, literally millions of people have listened to this podcast over the years. Not a lot of reviews. So if you want to go rate and review, that'd be cool. All right, we'll see you here next week.
Family reviews.
Family. It's about family. Do not go and put "it's about family" in our fucking reviews. Like one, maybe. We either need to have 1 or 500. If there is any number of those in between, it's not funny. It's not funny.
So think long and hard before
Yeah.
you are the second one to do it.
That's right. That's right. The first one's really funny. 2 through 499. Fuck you. 500.
shit.
Super funny again.
No. You gotta
thanks
come
for
all the way back around.
That's right. Thanks
Just
very much
like
for
Death Stranding is.
Thanks very much for watching, everybody. I'm gonna turn the stream off here. And, did you guys hear Warren?
I did.
Warren said,
Yep.
"Woo!"
That's right.
That's how the old Spanish announce table pod used to end.
Hell yes. Bye.